I'd like to call to order the Oxnard City Council and Housing Authority. Roll call.
Councilmember Basua,
And this is for March 2nd.
Here.
Councilmember Lopez, Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Here.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Here.
Councilmember Perello, Councilmember Turan,
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And we also posted the agenda.
Yes, the agenda, the amended agenda for this meeting was posted in City Hall Bulletin Board on February 26, 2021.
Thank you. And we don't have any public comments for items in the closed session. So closed session item is conference with legal counsel with existing litigation, Government Code Section 549569D I. And this is a case of Aaron Starr versus the City of Oxnard. And now go ahead, and Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. And the second item in closed session tonight is City Council will discuss under Government Code Section 54956.9D2. Based on existing facts and circumstances, there is exposure to litigation against the city in one potential case regarding an Americans with Disabilities Act compliance review of the Oxnard Transit Center by the U.S. Department of Justice.
Okay, so then we're going to closed session. Return at 6 p.m. for the opening session. And we'll be back at 6. Thank you. you, council members, ladies and gentlemen. We're back from closed session, and Mr. City Attorney, you have a report for us?
Yes, Mayor. On item C1 on the closed session agenda, by unanimous vote, the City Council has given its legal counsel approval to seek appellate review or relief in the action entitled Starr versus City of Oxnard, which concerns the validity of the city's infrastructure use fees. This authorization is restricted to appealing limitations potentially to be placed on the city's statutory options to repay the judgment in that matter.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. But before we do that, I'd like to call for a moment of silence for several individuals here. We have, first of all, a moment of silence for Mr. William Willie Ontiveros, who passed. Mr. Ontiveros was my barber and maybe he was a barber for hundreds of Oxnard residents. He was also a city employee that retired from the refuse division. Additionally, we would like to share that we have a moment of silence also for Mr. Charlie Kistner, who is a very active person in governmental issues in the city of Oxnard, and also we give our sincere condolences to him. Additionally, we have another staff member from Public Works, Mr. Salvando Lopez, who was a landfill transfer driver, passed away last week, and we give our condolences to his family also. And also, this moment of silence for the Asian community that's under daily attack here in the United States, which is unfortunate. So follow me, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance with a moment of silence for those individuals. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
to God,
indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Our next item in the agenda is a very, very important agenda item. And this is a oath of office to our new fire chief, Alexander Hamilton. Madam Clerk, Chief, you want to come up to the dais, please? Thank you.
Chief Hamilton, my pleasure. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Alexander Hamilton,
I, Alexander Hamilton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution
to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of California,
of the State of California,
that I will take this obligation freely
that I'll take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well,
and faithfully
faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
which I am upon
which I am upon
to enter.
to enter.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you. I might stand.
Okay.
I just wanted to say a few words, and I think Mr. City Manager gave me some great advice this afternoon, and he just said, don't forget to enjoy this. And so thank you. That was good advice. Especially in these COVID times, for those of you who are watching, the council chambers are essentially empty, unfortunately, so we can't, I know there's a lot of people that would have liked to have been here, so, but just a few words. I really just wanted to start out by saying how grateful I am to be in this position. Since the day I started with Oxnard Fire Department, I've truly felt like I've found my calling. I think it was Mark Twain that once said, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I won't say it's never felt like work. There has been some very long days working for the Oxnard Fire Department, but the months and years have gone quickly. And I genuinely love serving this community. So now to be appointed fire chief, it is truly an honor. I've heard it said that it's lonely at the top, and where there are difficult decisions to be made, I can see why people might say that. However, since taking over as the interim chief last September, there has been nothing but support from this council, from fellow department heads, from our operational area partners, and from our own personnel. So I'm now a part of a much larger team, and everyone has taken me in. And so to the City Council and our residents, I say thank you. Thank you for the support you give this fire department each day. And to our City Manager, Alex Nguyen, the support you have shown me in this department and your eagerness to see us succeed has been incredible. And I look forward to continue to work with you. And so I'm filled with pride to be leading this organisation. The men and women of the Oxnard Fire Department do incredible things every single day. These are the personnel that have helped and guided me to become the leader I am. I continue to learn from and be humbled by our personnel. As a team, we will continue to strive to provide the best possible service to our residents and our visitors. But before I finish, I'd just like to say a few words about my family that's here with me today. It is said that the spouses of firefighters are the strongest. They are often raising kids and running a household alone. My wife has done this while also working full-time herself. And so while I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Oxnard Fire Department and all the opportunities it has afforded me, I couldn't have accomplished any of it without them. My family is my strongest support network, and they've made huge sacrifices for my career. So thank you, and I love you.
Thank you, Chief. We have a lot of speakers. So you want to wait up here, or you might want to use this. Thank you, Chief. Okay, and we have, Chief, you know, we have, if you'd like to take a seat in the dais, but we have.
Assemblymember Jackie Orwin is on the line to speak. Assemblymember Jackie Orwin is on the line to speak. Jackie Orwin.
Okay, so our first speaker, Chief, is Assembly Jackie Irwin. Jackie?
All right. Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Zaragoza. I think that's the first time I've said that, and city council members. And I'm really honored to be able to say a couple of words about Alexander Hamilton. First, I want to congratulate Alexander for this appointment. And secondly, I want to congratulate the city of Oxnard for making such an incredible choice. Alexander is a total out-of-the-box thinker, and he's incredibly intelligent. So great choice there. I've met Alexander, you know, we've run into each other a number of times over the years, but it was really during COVID that we started to work together. I read about an antibody project that he was spearheading in the city of Oxnard in the paper, and called him right away. And he was like a scientist for an hour, explaining to me what he was doing and how it was going to benefit the residents of Oxnard. And in the months following, we've talked about thermometers, and he was trying to get funding for sewage testing, and wanting to make sure that the county was bringing COVID tests into the city of Oxnard, because he really, really, really loves the city and its residents and wants to do everything he can to protect them. So You are very lucky to have him, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Assemblyperson. I really appreciate your comments. Our next person is Brian Frieder. I think he's Frieders. He's a retired chief from Pasadena. Brian, are you chief? Are you on board?
Mr. Frieders?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Great. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Brian Frieders, and I recently retired as the interim fire chief from the city of Pasadena. I spent 31 years in the fire service and in EMS, and I'm very grateful to have the privilege today to come and speak to you about Alex Hamilton. Everybody refers to him as Alexander, and I apologize, but he's Alex to me. And the reason I say that is because in the fire service, to find someone who truly represents every tenet of leadership that we try to teach is indeed a rarity. And I am so grateful that the city of Oxnard has recognized someone like Alex Hamilton, who could care less about himself, but cares about everybody else, including the people that live in Oxnard and the firefighters that he will now command. The other organization that I represent is an organization called the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. It's no mystery to any of you, I'm sure, that 1 in 3 firefighters during their career will be diagnosed with cancer in some way, shape, or form. And half of those firefighters will succumb to cancer during the course of their career or their retirement. And that's a staggering number. And I recall meeting Alex for the first time several years ago and giving him that statistic. And he immediately said, "What do I need to do to fix this now?" And it wasn't a 5, let's talk in a couple of weeks, let's talk in a month. It was literally the next morning at 8 o'clock, my phone was ringing, asking me everything I knew about it and what he could do to bring whatever mitigation measures he could to the city of Oxnard and the Oxnard firefighters. And the reason he did that was not to be innovative, was not to be self-serving. It was for no other reason than to protect the people that he works with. Because Alex Hamilton is a servant leader. Alex Hamilton cares about everybody else except himself. It is, and the things that he's done through his career and the ascension that he's made through that department, as a fire chief, it is a privilege to watch that happen. And I know he's probably sitting there right now thinking, oh man, what's this guy going to say? He's embarrassing me. He's saying all these nice things. Please don't tell him about the tacos that we had at the restaurant the other day because they were really tasty. And that's why I keep coming back to see him, because Oxnard has some fantastic restaurants. And growing up in Southern California, I'm very aware of all the challenges the fire service is bringing and all the issues that COVID has brought. But to see Alex Hamilton navigate COVID the way he has, and again, keeping the city, its citizens, and the firefighters at the forefront of every priority that he does decision-wise is a privilege and a pleasure to watch. So for me, being out of the fire service now, looking inward and looking outward at what he's doing, you have made an outstanding decision. Alex Hamilton is one of my absolute favorite human beings, and I am 100% confident that moving forward that you will be in outstanding hands with such a great leader. So congratulations, Alex, and to your family. I'm proud of you. You represent all of the good in the fire service. Enjoy this night. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Mark Lorenzen. He's the Fire Chief of County of Ventura District. Mark Lorenzen.
Mr. Lorenzen? Mr. Lorenzen, you may unmute by pressing *6.
Got it. I'm on now. Mayor
Thank you.
Zaragoza. Yeah,
Thank you.
interesting to give you a different title. It's also interesting to pass along one of my bosses on to Chief Hamilton. So I'm going to just echo very quickly a term that Chief Frieders, who just spoke, used related to Chief Hamilton, and that's servant leadership. And the wise move that Oxnard made in appointing Chief Hamilton to be their next fire chief, I will say, on a personal basis, from when I came into contact with Alex, as I will call him, as a fire captain, he was always there, crossing borders to come help us with grants. He was personally responsible for the whole region receiving multiple millions of dollars in grants that would benefit the fire service without regard to jurisdictions. He's also just been a strong supporter of the partnership that we've seen throughout the county. I speak on behalf of the entire Ventura County Fire Department in saying that Alex has been a partner in the fire service and in the, providing assistance to the community since the day I met him. And then most importantly, as we all in the county watched the tragic fires in 2017 with the Thomas fire, in 2018 with the Woolsey fire, that concept of us being a single county, really truly came to fruition. And with Chief Hamilton's support, the city of Oxnard supported us and the county in the response beyond all expectations. And it's exactly what we would do for the city of Oxnard should the city ever be in need in a situation like that. It's the beauty of the mutual aid system. It's the beauty of our regional approach to fire services and the fact that we drop our borders, because we all know that Mr. and Mrs. Smith don't care if it's a yellow fire engine from the county or a red fire engine from Oxnard. They just want the closest resource. And, I think that is what is the key in Chief Hamilton's heart, is that desire to serve the community and the constituents of Oxnard. And thank you. I look forward to the continued partnership with Oxnard and especially working into the future with Chief Hamilton. Congratulations, Alex. Super well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Lorenzen. Our next speaker is Mary Louby. Mary.
Hello.
Ms. Louby?
Yes.
Yes, you may speak.
Okay. Hello, my name is Mary Louby, and I am the Events and Firefighter Liaison for Ventura County's Grassroots Ribbons of Life Breast Cancer Foundation. In 2012, the new captain, Alex Hamilton, as Secretary Treasurer of the Oxnard Firefighters Association, first began the effort to raise funds for breast cancer awareness during the month of October, or as we call it, Pinktober. They sold t-shirts, hats, and the firefighters also wore their pink t-shirts in support for the first time. And Ribbons of Life was one of the thankful recipients of those funds. In 2013, I began working directly with Alex and learned firsthand of his drive and energy, intelligence and innovation, compassion, and commitment to the people of this community. Our group of breast cancer advocates, educators, thrivers, and supporters are so grateful for the years of fundraising and support from Alex and the Oxnard firefighters. I am not surprised in the least to see Alex ascend to the position of Oxnard Fire Chief. The Oxnard Fire Department, the city, and the people of the whole county are lucky to have Fire Chief Alexander Hamilton in this position. Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you, Mary. Our next speaker is Dr. Stephen F. Froelich. Doctor?
Dr. Fullock? You may unmute by pressing *6.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you
Yes.
so much. You have
Wonderful. First of all, thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the City Council members. I am honored to be able to speak to you tonight about my colleague, and I can also say my personal friend, Chief Alex Hamilton. I have known Chief Hamilton for more than 15 years. We met as a result of our shared passion to assist in improving and caring for all of our firefighters' behavioral health needs. Not only did Chief Hamilton have the passion to assist the citizens of the city of Oxnard, but he also volunteered his time and energy to help develop and maintain the Oxnard Fire Department's peer support team. Alex has deployed with the International Association of Firefighters, where he's gone to other states to assist firefighters in need. And he's also an International Association of Firefighters certified peer support trainer. And he actually goes to other fire departments to help train our next generation of peer support members. It is my sincere honor to share deep appreciation for Fire Chief Alex Hamilton. Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you, Doctor. The next speaker is Sylvia Rosalek. Sylvia?
Ms. Rosalek? You may unmute by pressing *6. Ms. Rosalek, can you hear me? We'll come back.
Okay. Our next speaker would be Ulysses Castellanos. Ulysses Castellanos.
Mr. Castellanos?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Perfect. All right, Mayor. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ulysses Castellanos. I represent Oxnard Firefighters Local 1684. We wanted to congratulate Alex Hamilton tonight on his swearing in as Oxnard's fire chief. I personally had the opportunity to work with Alex over the last few years. His dedication and commitment to the city and this department has always been easy to see. But one thing that has always stood out is the importance he places on the well-being of his coworkers and listening to their concerns. We look forward to working with Chief Hamilton to continue improving the Oxnard Fire Department to provide an even higher level of service. We want to thank you, the City Council and City Manager, as we think you've made the right choice for this position. Lastly, I'd like to end with a thank you to Alex's family. In the short amount of time I've been here, I have personally seen and can relate to how much sacrifice comes from our spouses and families. All the late night calls, interrupted plans, multiple days away, meetings, etc. I don't think Alex would have been able to be here without your support. So thank you, Haley, and the rest of Alex's family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ulysses. Our next speaker is Vanessa Bechtel. Vanessa?
Ms. Bechtel?
Are you here? Oh,
Yes, hi.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Oh, goodness. Thank you so much. Mayor Zaragoza, I just want to echo all of the comments that are being made about Fire Chief Alexander Hamilton. Over the past 10 months, I've been able to get to know Alex, and I'm just in awe of his service, his dedication, his hard work, and all he's been doing for our community. It's been innovative, and he's a true partner in every sense of the word. And we just wanted to say how much we've appreciated his leadership, especially in the wastewater work that has been taking place to vet for COVID outbreaks and the antibody testing. We just have really been so impressed by how innovative and how resourceful he is. And congratulations, Fire Chief Hamilton.
Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you for sharing. Do we still have Sylvia, Madam Clerk? Did we get a hold of her?
Ms. Rosalek, if you would
Sylvia?
please unmute to speak by pressing *6. Are you still with us? Are you able to join us? Sylvia? Sylvia Rosalek?
Okay. We can come back later on if she comes out.
Sure.
Okay, at this time, I would like to call the council members, see if any council member has any comments they'd like to share regarding our new chief. Council Perrellum?
Yes. Congratulations, Chief, to you and your family, your parents, everything, all the way down the line. Some tremendous comments tonight. One that I find very, very heartfelt, and also I take great interest in, and I'm going to bring it up. Chief Lorenzen mentioned that you looked out for issues with respect to doing it without regard to jurisdictions. Your recent activities on the behalf of the city of Oxnard and the residents of Oxnard, you've come under some pretty strong fire. And that's why that really jumped up out at me. And I appreciate, and I see you looking there, and we need these kind of leaders. The previous chiefs that have been here before, and things you've learned, and things you bring to the table. And I must tell you, the very first time I ever heard you talk, I don't think I'd forget that. You have a terrific voice and accent, and I like it a lot. But this is something that the comment that was made, without regard to jurisdiction, you're looking out for things. And I hope that other people heard that and it's sunk in also. Thank you, and wish you the best of luck, you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you. Other council members? Okay, Lopez, Councilman Lopez, and then followed by Masua. Lopez?
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, congratulations. I'm really excited to continue working with you and really appreciate the work that you have been doing, especially as we were in the middle of COVID, and I did get to see that interaction and your presence in our community to really serve and meet the need and meet the time of this need in this pandemic for our city. So I really appreciate that you are here. And it's really nice to hear the level of support and the people that stand behind you. And it's a true testament to the person that you are and what you are bringing to our city. So congratulations, and thank you to you and your family.
Thank you. Councilmember Masua?
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations, Chief Hamilton. I am looking forward to working with you and your department. And I appreciate all the work you've done so far in order to keep Oxnard safe. And I want to also thank your family for allowing them to share you with us, because I know that this commitment that you're making to the city of Oxnard is a 24-hour commitment. So your family is also to be commended. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Taran?
Thank you, Mayor Zaragoza. I just want to congratulate our new Chief Hamilton as well. There's not much else I can say that hasn't already been said, really. And even in the short time that I've been fortunate to work with him, prior to my appointment, and then even now after starting in this role, I can tell right away that he's absolutely a servant leader who looks at things objectively, but also tries to see the humanistic side in the decisions that he has to make as well. And I just want to extend my thanks to you for all of your work, and looking forward to everything that we'll be able to support you in accomplishing for our residents and our city as well. So congratulations, Chief. Very much looking forward to what happens next. And I hope after hearing Councilmember Perello, I realize you could have a very lucrative career in voiceover acting too. I hope you don't decide to leave us for that. So thank you again, Chief.
Okay. McDonald, and then followed, and then lastly would be Oscar. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, welcome aboard. I wasn't going to say anything, but after everybody else has spoken, I didn't want everybody to think that I didn't like you. So congratulations. A number of speakers that have spoken on your behalf from outside the city is a true testament to your ability to reach out and touch people across the city and county and even the nation. So I think you bring an exciting future to our agency, our city, and to the fire department. So thank you for all your efforts. I'm impressed already, and I plan to be more impressed as you continue on with your career. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Madrigal.
Thank you, Chief. As always, I think I would say best of luck, but I don't think you're going to need luck. Since I've been here, speaking with any firefighter on that is a member of our fire department, there's nothing but great words said about you. You've shown not only in the last few months, but to me over the last 4 years that not only are you a great employee, but more importantly, and I've said this before to other individuals, you show that you have a genuine interest and care, not only for every single firefighter that we have here on staff, but that you genuinely care for the residents of the city. And for that, then I for sure know that you are the right person for this job. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'd like to share a couple of words and then we'll follow by the city manager. So first of all, Chief, I really want to thank you for your promotion and congratulate you. A well-deserved promotion. You've been very instrumental in supporting the Oxnard community and also your team, your firefighters that really have helped tremendously, not only in saving property, but saving lives in our community, which I think are extremely important. And of course, you have served me personally. When we dial 911, I think that's extremely important. So I value the firefighters tremendously, and thank you for the 911 calls that the firefighters respond immediately. In fact, one of my calls was 2 minutes, and I know what are you looking at 4 or 5 minutes, but it was 2 minutes, and they were there. Not because it was me, but the service is there. I want to thank your wife and your family, your 3 young men, good-looking firefighters that we have here. Wave your hands, guys. You see? And I really, really want to thank you. Young man, muchas gracias. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's 3 young men speak Spanish excellent too, by the way. You talk about his accent. Those guys have really good accents. Thank you again, Chief. Congratulations for your promotion. You're gonna make us happy and also very proud. Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and also to everyone who has spoken. Clearly, we've heard from a wide variety of folks here in the city and outside the city discussing Chief Hamilton's talent and character and leadership abilities. So I don't need to go over too many more things as to explain why he was selected to be our fire chief. We'll say only a few things, which is Chief Hamilton, again, from everything you've heard, it should be very obvious and clear to everyone that he will be a transformative chief for this department. He will not simply sit in the chief's chair and keep the boat steady. He is going to steer the boat with a very firm hand and with a very clear eye towards the future and all that it entails in terms of modernizing the department, focusing on recruiting people from here in Oxnard, and also focusing on recruiting women. So we really look forward to Chief Hamilton continuing his already distinguished career now as our chief. And then I will move on to address his family as well. And I want to give them actual tangible thank yous. So number one, I want to let you 3 kids know that the police chief will be sending each of you a police hat as a congratulations gift. So you can look forward to that. We hope to see you around town. There's our police chief up there. There you go. And then also last year when we were out on the weekend of Neighborhood Pride, I actually met Chief Hamilton and his youngest, his daughter. And when I asked her, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the weekend? She said, eating a steak. So to Alex's family, so the first formal directive I'm giving to your father tonight is that he's going to take you to a steak dinner. And thank you.
All right, Chief.
So with that, Mr. Mayor, I turn it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Chief. Thank you so much, and your family. And where are we having the steak? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. And as he walks out, I think the city manager says something important, and that's the diversity that he's going to be hiring women. So with that in mind, my next item here on item number 2, I would like to call Jeanette Sanchez Palacios, who is the VC Women's Political Counsel, and she's currently a new council member from the city of Ventura. So I have this proclamation that I'd like to share with Jeanette, and I've known Jeanette congratulations, Jeanette. I've known her for a long, long time. And I'm going to read this proclamation, on behalf of the Women's History Month. This is a proclamation, Women's History Month, March 2021. whereas women of every background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, whereas women have played and continue to play a critical role in the economic, cultural, and social life of our nation, and whereas women have played a unique role throughout our history by providing a majority of volunteer labor force, and whereas women are particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and also cultural institutions, and whereas women have served our country courageously in the military, and where women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolition movement, the emancipation movement, and also the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movements, and which create more fair and justice society for all. Whereas despite these contributions, the role of women in history have been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of history. Now, therefore, I, John C. Zaragoza, Mayor of the City of Oxnard, do hereby proclaim Women's Month, History Month, in the City of Oxnard, and encourage all residents to learn more about the contributions made in our community and in our nation by women who had left enduring imprints in our history. In witness thereof, I said hand, my hand caused in the Great Seal of the City of Oxnard to be affixed in the second day of March, 2021. Jeanette, do you have any words you'd like to share? And I have a proclamation.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Zaragoza and council members for the recognition, in particular for the Ventura County Women's Political Council. As immediate past president, I am honored to receive the proclamation, and thank you for highlighting the work that women have done throughout the years. As an organization, we value women at the table and what they have to say in regards to the different roles that we play, particularly in the political field, where we do focus on training, educating, and encouraging women to run for office. So really appreciate the recognition, and thank you so much for recognizing this month as Women's International Month.
Thank you, Council Member. And by the way, this will be ready for you in the morning if you'd like to have somebody come by or over at the city manager's office. And thank you again, and congratulations on your election over, or your appointment over in Ventura. Thank you again.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, our next item is Debbie Goki. Debbie, are you there? And this is yes, there she is. Hi, this is a proclamation from Seroptimus Stop Human Trafficking and Sexual Slavery Awareness Day. Whereas March 6th, 2021 is the 14th annual Seroptimus Stop Human Trafficking Sexual Slavery Community Awareness Event in Ventura County, hosted by the Camino Real Region Seroptimus Clubs of Oxnard, Camarillo, and Ventura. Whereas Seroptimus, it is a mission to increase community awareness and to provide education and to honor and uplift women and girls who have struggled through hardship and disparity, in some cases of human trafficking. And whereas every 30 seconds, another person becomes a victim of human trafficking through force, fraud, and coercion. Trafficking primarily involves exploitation for purposes of prostitution, slavery, involuntary servitude, compelling victims to commit commercial sex acts. Approximately 75% of all human trafficking victims are trafficked for sexual exploitation and 18% for labor exploitation. And whereas the Global Slavery Index estimates that 40 million women and children are living in modern day slaves. The forced labor and sex trafficking is a $150 billion worldwide industry and the fastest growing criminal enterprise. And whereas human trafficking has worsened during the pandemic due to economic instability, insulation, homelessness, social media, vulnerability, and the annual awareness event would take place on virtual Zoom, as our optimists believe it is important to continue raising awareness within local communities community, to educate local citizens and advocate for stronger laws and enforcement to take action to empower women to ultimately end modern day slavery. And where Seroptimists are investing in programs called Seroptimists Live Your Dream, helps recipients with financial support to continue their education, to gain independence. 50% of these women are survivors of trafficking, domestic violence, and sexual assault. Whereas Seroptimists International of Oxnard, Camarillo, and Ventura clubs of the Camino Real support the Federation of Seroptimists International of Americas programs to promote awareness, advocacy, action that all Seroptimist clubs are in the position to worldwide educate everyone, especially women that have the right to live free from violence and exploitation. Now, therefore, I, John Zaragoza, Mayor of the City of Oxnard, do hereby proclaim March 6, 2021 as the 14th Annual Seroptimist Stop Human Trafficking Slavery Awareness Day in the City of Oxnard, and encourage all residents to support services and programs sponsored by the Seroptimists International of Oxnard, Camarillo, Ventura, and Camino Real region, and that provides outreach, education, and awareness to these issues. It witness, therefore, I have set my hand, caused the Great Seal of the City of Oxnard to be effected on the second day of March 2021. And Debbie, do you have any comments you'd like to share? And I have a proclamation that I...
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Zaragoza, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council.
Debbie, we have an echo. Please turn off your TV. Debbie, we have an echo.
Yeah, we're having some feedback, Debbie.
Thank you.
Okay, I was using my phone as a speaker.
We still have an echo. Might you have a
Turn
microphone?
unmute it. Can the host mute me?
You're muted, Debbie.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay. Well, City Council members and Mr. Mayor, thank you for recognizing our work that we're doing on behalf of the Seroptimist Clubs of Oxnard, Ventura, and Camarillo. This has been a program that we have been doing for the last 14 years, as you know. So this year, we're not doing an in-person event like we usually do. So we're taking to Zoom like everybody else is doing and having a Zoom event this Saturday from 1 to 3. You can register on Facebook or on the internet at stoptraffickingventuracounty.org and register. But we want to really thank you for supporting our work that we do, that you know human trafficking affects the whole country globally. It's in every state. California is the #1 state for trafficking, and our own backyard, the county of Ventura. Every day, women and girls, men and boys are trafficked by pimps, their boyfriends, parents, and enslaved for sex or labor. So this event is really to create awareness, education, and empowerment of Ventura County citizens so they can take action. So our speakers, we have 4 really amazing speakers. We have a survivor who has since received her MA. She's an author and she's an expert consultant. We have a medical doctor who works in the emergency ER. We have a Ventura County Sheriff Detective, and we have a human trafficking intervention manager from Interface. So we really have a wealth of knowledge that will be speaking. And please, if there are any parents or individuals that are just interested in hearing about what's going on, we encourage you to sign up and spend a few hours on your Saturday. I know everybody's busy, or maybe not, they're staying home more, but as the mayor said, every 30 seconds, a woman falls into the hands of a trafficker. And when the community is educated and aware of what's going on, they can help combat this problem. So again, thank you very much for acknowledging our work. And we look forward to an event and hope to see some of you. It's a webinar, so we won't be able to see you, but I know you'll be there. So thank you again very much for your acknowledgement.
Thank you, Debbie. And this is going to be at City Hall for you tomorrow morning. And I just want to share with you
All
that
right.
also I want to share with you that I've supported Debbie and the Sir Optimus for the last
Yes.
14 years. And thank you again, Debbie.
This is my first time calling you Mayor Zaragoza.
Thank you. I know we've done a lot of
Thank
work over at the
you.
Government Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council members, our next item on the agenda is public comments on items not on the agenda. And we have 4 speakers on that item. And it's got 3 minutes. And I'm going to call him to start off with. It's going to be, the first speaker is going to be Henry Alvarado Sapien, followed by Jade Campbell. Wait a minute. Oh, let me see. I wonder if I have.
Mr. Garcia, you may unmute by pressing *6.
Yep. Yeah, Mr. Garcia is the first one. My apologies. Okay.
Mr. Garcia?
Angel Garcia.
Yes, you have 3 minutes to speak, starting now.
Hello, Madam City Clerk. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, Mayor, City Council, and staff. I want to take this opportunity to thank Wendy Long for her many years of service to the city of Oxnard. This morning, she shared some heartfelt news that she had been hired to another media outlet. Although I was really happy for her, at the same time, I was quite sad. It's evident that when we return to normal, we'll all be together in council chambers, things will look a lot different. But nonetheless, I will miss Wendy Long for her round-the-clock reporting of the city of Oxnard, keeping all of us residents informed. I will miss our many debates of pineapple pizza. I appreciate you so much, Wendy. I wish nothing but the best for you and on your next move in your career. Thank you again, City Council and staff. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Angel. So our next speaker is Henry Alvarado Sapien, followed by Jade Campbell. Henry Alvarado Sapien.
Mayor, we do not have the next 3 speakers available. However, we do have Mr. Stein on the line.
So the last 3 speakers are not available. Okay. So our last speaker then would be, not second to the last would be Larry Paul Stein.
Mr. Stein?
Thank you very much. 2 weeks ago, the City Council approved the Park Master Plan. No funds were recommended to be appropriated for the Park Master Plan. It was recommended that the Park Master Plan go back to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Service Committee so they can review the plans and recommend funding and projects for the next 2 years. Again, no money was recommended for funding by City Council or staff. Last week, the City Council met for over 6 hours to discuss priorities for the next 5 fiscal periods. None of the priorities had a cost associated with those priorities. There's no discussion to the public at what the costs are going to be made for each of these priorities. City Council spent a lot of time going over 6 different categories with priorities in each of the categories. But again, funding was not released to the public what each priority was going to cost but city council members apparently had some recollection of what some of these costs were. There are comments made by several city council members that certain projects would cost large sums of money. For example, to repair the streets would cost over $200 million. Fix our alleyways would cost another $50 million. But these costs were not made available to the public overall. A few cost items were listed, but not all of them. There were 25 items recommended, but the cost of each of the items was not disclosed to the public. Measure E is supposed to generate over $40 million for the next fiscal period each year. Now, where will the money come from for the rest of the projects? These 25 priorities are going will require large sums of money. Again, the streets are going to cost $200 million. Alleyways are going to cost $50 million. One of the items recommended down the list was a pool for the aquatic center at College Park. That's going to cost between $12 to $15 million. If Measure E is going to cost $40 million or generate $40 million a year, 5 years, that's $200 million. If the street's going to cost $200 million, where will the funding come across for the other 24 priorities? Again, City Council recommended funding for 25 priorities be constructed and completed in the next 5 years. Streets alone is going to grab up all the money for Measure E for the streets. Where will the rest of the money come from? And how is it that we only see paving taking place now the last 6 months? Where did that money come from all at once? We were out of money supposedly. All of a sudden we have money to fix the streets. How much money is the city hiding? Please respond to me at the next city council meeting as agendized item. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
We have one more.
One more, and
Joey Juas Lukumski.
Joey, you got 3 minutes.
Joey Lukumski. You may unmute by pressing *6.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
No problem. Yes, we can. You have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Mayor Zaragoza, members of the City Council, my name is Joey Juhas Lukumski. I'm the Executive Director of Bike Ventura. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm just going to bring your attention to the fact that on Thursday of last week, the third person in Oxnard was killed while riding their bicycle in the city of Oxnard. That is the third person in 2021 so far this year. There's been a significant uptick in deaths of pedestrians and cyclists in the city of Oxnard over the last 3 years, and 2021 is really not off to a good start. So I think this is something that really needs to be prioritized before it gets much, much worse. 3 deaths in the first 2 months is just awful. It's a tragedy. And with respect to the deceased, I want you to resist the urge that you may have to say, to do some victim blaming, which I think can happen, where you say, well, this person was jaywalking, or this person was riding at night without lights, or this person was swerving. Oxnard, this death rate, even in 2019, is 5 times the national average for people riding their bikes. And then you also have pedestrians dying. And here's the fact of the matter. People jaywalk in Ventura. People ride their bikes drunk in the city of Santa Barbara. People ride at night without lights in Camarillo. But Oxnard is the only city that's experiencing this really awful and tragic uptick in fatalities. And another urge I ask you to resist is to say that, well, this is something that we can maybe enforce our way out of by doing more traffic enforcement. The issue here really, I think, is street design. I think that Oxnard has streets that are designed for the very rapid and fast movement of automobiles. You have these wide boulevards that allow for sort of uninhibited speeding, whether it's at day or at night. There are a lot of people driving. And look, every time one of these fatalities occur, that's who knows how many parents that are telling their kids You can't ride your bike outside anymore. It's not safe to ride your bike on the street. How many adults make the decision instead of riding a bike every time they hear about one of these fatalities to instead get in the car and drive to work or drive to the grocery store or drive anywhere? And that is
20
just more
seconds.
cars on the road. Thank you. And I just ask that you acknowledge this and take it very seriously, because it is very serious, and it is regionally, it's pretty unique to Oxnard. So once again, I just want to thank you all so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks you so much for sharing that update. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, that's the last speaker I have, right?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is the City Manager Report, and this is a COVID-19 update by the Director of Emergency Services, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will be a very brief update this evening. We're going to get the slides up for a moment. It's going to focus primarily on where the whole country is focusing right now, on vaccinations. So we're happy to report that thanks to the leadership of the County Public Health Department and the County CEO's office, that there are more and larger vaccination sites available in Oxnard. Specifically, the most recent one that's large is at Rose Avenue. That, of course, is in what used to be the Babies R Us building. And then has been one in South Oxnard at the also at the Public Health Department offices at Centerpoint Mall. And as a reminder, all of these require registration/appointments. So you have to do that, and it's available online. And if you need help making an appointment, our city staff can help. So that leads me to the next announcement, which is the most recent vaccination center. And that one is set up at our South Winds Youth Center. And that one has, let me go back. So currently, based on current dosage availability coming obviously from the feds through the state and down to our counties. So our county, I believe where we stand is the large site at the Babies R Us. I think they can handle up to 2,000 doses daily. Granted that they're provided that many doses each week, but that's the game plan. And the other one at Centerpoint Mall at the Public Health Office is roughly 500 doses daily. Now, at the newest site, South Winds Youth Center, we're looking at a maximum of 250 doses daily. And the reason we're working there, and thanks to the mayor and Councilmember Lopez's leadership on this, is to provide a vaccination site for the densest part of our community in terms of population, and make it easier for people to get to the appointment site. You still need to register for your appointment. And again, our staff are available to help. So you can see on the screen here, again, it's at South Winds Youth Center. During the week, Monday through Friday, appointments are available between 10 and 5 p.m. You can see we're currently in the tier for adults 65 years and up, as well as health workers and frontline workers. So again, you've got to make an appointment. There's the phone number, and this information, of course, is available on our website and across social media. So I'm as always, we have this reminder, we are still in the pandemic, although we are in the still the early phase of the vaccination stage. We are still in the pandemic. So as a reminder, wear your mask, keep your physical and social distance, wash your hands often, and continue to avoid gatherings of people who are not members of your immediate household. I'm going to go back and leave this here while I make one other update, which is we've received questions as to why our libraries are not open and providing services similar to other libraries throughout the county. So I want to provide a quick explanation. First and foremost, our city has experienced the pandemic very differently from the balance of our neighbors in the county, in that most of the COVID positive cases are here in Oxnard. Now, of course, that is a function of the size of our population as compared to other cities, but also the density of some of our neighborhoods. So we have in Oxnard more than a third of all the COVID cases across the county combined. And as one result of that, our city staff, throughout this pandemic, we've done the best we could, and I believe we've done a rather good job. But the fact is, we've had more than 16% of our employees throughout this pandemic have been infected. And so that obviously requires them to be out from work, but the associated requirement for their colleagues who've had to quarantine as a result of positive testing also hinders our work efforts, and on some days makes our staff in certain divisions extremely light and thin. So with that, I have been very, very careful and clear about as much as possible minimizing those opportunities where our staff are interacting with members of the public, even though we have many jobs and employees who, by the nature of their work, they have to interact with the public. And added to those precautions, we've also made a concerted effort to repurpose our recreation staff, including our library staff, to support COVID efforts, especially the food distributions that have gone on throughout the year. We have repurposed 80 of our staff to support the food distribution centers across the city. We've also utilized 36 of our staff to support the various COVID testing sites across the city. And recently, we're up to 14 of our staff providing daily support at vaccination sites. So between being very cautious about keeping our staff safe to prevent our numbers of infected staff from increasing, and proactively providing the very necessary support needed to run these the food distribution programs, the testing sites, and now most importantly, the vaccination sites, we have repurposed many of our staff, mostly from our recreation department, and that also includes our library staff. So I hope that provides a explanation and understanding to our community, especially those who have been perplexed by why our libraries have not been open and providing services similar to other communities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Okay, our next item is the opportunity for council members to share some brief announcements on his or her activities. The council members. Okay, let me see. Councilman Lopez, followed by Basua.
Thank you, Mayor. And I wanted to follow in the comments from our city manager in terms of the vaccine site, and to really thank all our recreation staff and all our staff who has been so flexible. We're reaching a year of everything really shifting and having to adjust, and I think our staff has certainly been really responsive and supportive of the changes throughout our community, and their support at all of these sites that are essentially serving our community and our residents is greatly appreciated. So thank you for that. And I wanted to also thank Council Member Basua and our city staff for supporting the Ormond Beach cleanup that happened on Saturday. And also to thank our Assistant Police Chief, Denise Schadinger, who came out there, and it took me a moment to recognize her because certainly not used to seeing her outside of her uniform and wearing a face mask and everything, but really appreciate her coming out there and supporting the cleanup as well. And lastly, thank you to Wendy, whose last meeting with us is today, Wendy Lung from the VC Star. I met her while I was on the school board. That was my first interaction with her as she was covering the school district news, and really appreciate her commitment, staying through the end of council meetings, very often being the last person in the audience, watching us and listening to us, but most importantly, communicating information to the rest of the city, the rest of the county. And I think that I really appreciate that, and we'll certainly miss you, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this community in this capacity, and I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. Our next speaker is Mayor Pro Tem, followed by Madrigal. Mayor Pro
Thank you,
Tem.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say congratulations to Wendy on your new career. It's hard to believe you've been in journalism for 20 years because you don't look a day over about 25. Unlike me, who looks like not a day over 100, but that's another story for another day. Wendy, thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I wish you well in all future endeavors. If ever I can be of assistance in the future, you'll still be in the generally local Southern California area. I would be happy to be of assistance. So thank you for your years here, your service to the Star, your service to the community, and good luck in the future endeavors. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Oscar Madrigal, followed by Councilmember Tehran.
Mayor, I'll wait because I know you had originally called Councilwoman Basua before me.
Okay, and then we call Councilman Basua.
Thank you. I just kind of want to also reiterate in my colleagues' words. I definitely want to thank Wendy for putting up with all of us, I guess, and during all these council meetings and keeping her up really late. And I always enjoyed all her tweets through Twitter and her Facebook posts. So I'm definitely going to miss that. Wishing you always the best, Wendy, on everything that you do. And then, as Councilmember Lopez said, over this past weekend, we had about 100 people come out to Ormond Beach for a cleanup. A total of 3.26 tons of trash were picked up. And I want to definitely thank Councilmember Lopez and Mayor Zaragoza and our city manager for making this happen. But most importantly, in the background, we have city staff that has kind of put up with all our emails back and forth for about 2 to 3 weeks while we planned this event, especially Isidro Figueroa. He probably got the most back and forth from different people, and Todd Housley in Environmental Resources. Thank you very much for all the work that went on in order to put this event together. And last is I'm going to be participating on Thursday on Read Across America. I want to thank the Oxnard School District for inviting me to read to one of their local classes. I look forward to doing that. Reading to kids and spending time with kids is always a joy for me. So I really want to express my gratitude for allowing me this opportunity to do that. And that's all I got. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Madrigal.
Madrigal, Council Member.
Thank you. Couple of things. First, working in education, I did happen to end up getting my first vaccine. It was a fast, efficient process. So of course, I want to thank the county for that, and as well as city staff that happens to be working there. They have the difficult job of, telling people they have to wait, so on and so forth, to even park in the parking lot there at the old Babies R Us. So to that, I know it's a difficult job, but they were doing a great job. So I want to thank everyone involved with the entire process. However, we need to see, some things around the city. There's still some hiccups here and there with the entire process. There are still large number of people who go out to work every day since the pandemic started last March. That they're working in day in, day out, interacting with the general public, and a lot of those people live here in the city of Oxnard, and there's no vaccination for them in sight right now. even though it says they are coming soon, and we are receiving more vaccines week by week, it's still a difficult process because from getting COVID from one of my parents, I know the process. My dad works in construction. You have construction workers, factory workers who are getting COVID at a very high rate. And this is besides density here in the city of Oxnard. You just kind of see it. Suddenly you would see it from house to house in my neighborhood. And then once you see one house go down, then it's a domino effect. Eventually, right around December, I kind of knew to myself that it was coming soon, and there was really nothing I could do about it. Second thing, I did want to mention, every time we do this, we hopefully, there's starting to be some light at the end of the tunnel through this pandemic. We're not out of it yet. We may still have a long way to go, but I want to thank the local businesses. They've stayed strong. So I guess every time we do this, every 2 weeks, I do want to, put an emphasis on certain local businesses here in the city of Oxnard. I'll start this week by, showing an extra emphasis with Panaderia Herrera. It's located in 214 Colonia Road. They've been serving the community for decades, and I know that, they go out there and they serve, and they have some wonderful pan dulce. Also down on Saviors Road, 3630 Saviors Road, the taco shop. It's wonderful. It's a little hole in the wall place. It's very difficult to see in that shopping center because it's hidden. But they have wonderful, wonderful Mexican food. And lastly, you never know when, you'll have a screen break or anything, but Oxnard Wireless Repairs at 1315 West Gonzalez Road actually happens to be a former student of mine. So he is about 21 years old, and he's been fixing screens since he was about 14 years old. And he does a wonderful job. And speaking, well, this isn't really local business, but it is a food. Raising Cane's will be opening its first location and only location in the state of Oxnard, but its first location in Ventura County in 2 weeks, March 16th, at the Rose, or as many people know it as the Walmart Shopping Center. It is going to be very, very busy. So I expect that there will be a lot of traffic, but wishing Raising Cane's the best of luck, and they have wonderful chicken. Real quickly, I know I don't have much time, but organized sports are returning, but there are going to be heavily regulated, and there are many rules that are going to be in place. So, the question of enforcement is going to be a difficult issue. Also, I know we've spoken about this before, the rent issue, but my key focus, even with before this, is the overall condition of some of these units. If 2 summers ago in 2019, summer 2019, the City of Thousand Oaks' code compliance worked with Ventura County Environmental Health Division to close down an apartment complex on Warwick. Those of you who don't know, Warwick Avenue is kind of like a little street full of apartments. We have, some little streets of apartments that are way worse than what is on Warwick and Thousand Oaks. And they closed down an apartment complex and fined the owner, I believe, $1 million for bed bugs, roaches, and mold in those apartments. So, as a city, we push hard and then we kind of step away, but we need to do something for residents, especially during this time, because there are being rent spikes. There are many apartments that have mold. I know of a resident in South Oxnard who they live in an apartment, the apartment's full of mold, their shower doesn't work, they have to shower in a communal shower for everyone on that particular floor. That is utterly disgusting. And to end on a good note, or a positive note, I want to wish Wendy the best of luck. Wendy has always kind of been there since I've been here. I will miss actually just sitting on the dais and looking down. First person I see is sitting there is Wendy. Wendy's usually typing away. I'll miss Wendy's laugh when Councilmember Perello has an outburst. I know where to look, and I know that Wendy's laughing, and we look at each other and we start laughing. But I'll miss Wendy. Wendy's been great. I wish her the best of luck, her and her family. And, you know, hopefully, maybe, you know, if she does get bored, she could tweet about our city council meeting, and I'll for sure read it after the meeting. But Wendy, best of luck, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Member. Our next Council Member is Council Member Tehran, followed by Perello. Tehran and then Perello.
Thank you, Mayor. So I want to share something that is actually a little bit of somber news first, and then I'll follow that up with a little bit of a higher note, and I'll be brief about this. The first thing I'd like to share is that for those who are unaware in the public and those here watching the meeting, is that the medical examiner's office for the County of Ventura last week released a press release in regards to an epidemic that predates the pandemic, and that is around fatal overdoses, specifically those from opioids. And I'll just glance over some important points that were pointed out in the press release. But in the year 2020, we had an increase of 45.6% of fatal overdose deaths. And that was compared to the prior year of 2019, which was also an increase that year. Fentanyl and benzodiazepine deaths increased significantly between those 2 years as well. And fentanyl contributed to 54 more deaths than the year before that. And of those deaths, this is a very important and sombering statistic. Of those deaths, those overdose deaths in 2020, the majority of them, the highest number, were between the ages of 31 and 40 years old, of those who died from overdose. And of those 49 deaths, of those 31 to 40-year-olds, 24 of them involved fentanyl. And so I just wanted to bring this up briefly because we have a lot of things that are going on nationally, around the globe, locally. But I want to remind people that this is an epidemic that never stopped during the pandemic. And as we can see, between 2019 and last year, 2020, it only got worse, rising by about half. And so I want to take just this opportunity as well to let people know, if you yourself or you know somebody who is struggling with substance use, you can call the County of Ventura Access Line at 1-844-385-9200. That's 1-844-385-9200. And at that line, you will be connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with someone who can help with an assessment. So I wanted to take a moment to share that. Another somber piece, I want to thank the speaker, Mr. I'm sorry if I say his name incorrectly, Lukomsky, who called around the bicycling. And just for my comments on this, during this comment period, I'm also a cyclist, and I will regularly ride my bike to my office in Camarillo for my day job. And I live near the Oxnard airport. It's about a 13-mile ride each way, and it's a really great ride. And I enjoy starting my day and ending my day out on 5th Street, seeing the beautiful fields, seeing the sun come up over the Conejo Grade. And it's an amazing ride. However, I have to echo what the speaker said about second guessing that when I hear about the unfortunate loss of life from pedestrian and cyclist deaths in our city. And the numbers are elevated. It is not a safe feeling place in a number of different routes we have for bicyclists. And when I hear about ones that are on my route, like on Rice or on 5th Street, or routes that I typically will take, as the speaker said, it makes me second guess, is this something I want to continue doing? Because I have a family, I have obligations, I have many things that I can't even fathom what would happen to those things or how would they be taken care of if I was not here. And I follow all the rules of the road. I wear a really great helmet. I am safe as safe can be. But even though I do that, I put a lot of trust in the drivers who are around me as well. And it just takes a split second of inattention or of a little mistake that a driver makes, and a cyclist or pedestrian will never win that fight against a vehicle. So thank you for speaking on that. Lastly, on a higher note, I attended the Fremont South Neighborhood Council meeting and the Fremont North Neighborhood Council meetings. I want to congratulate the new executive board for Fremont North Neighborhood Council. That neighborhood's been dormant for quite a while, and residents got together and brought a number of their neighbors together to start that council again. And I think they're on a great path to re-engaging and reactivating that neighborhood. In the coming week, we have on March 10th, East Village Neighborhood Council, March 11th, Cabrillo Neighborhood Council. If you live in those neighborhoods, I hope that you'll check out the weekly packet to see what the agenda topics are and consider attending. I want to thank Councilmember Perello for his request at the top of this meeting to include a moment of silence for violence against our Asian community and the unfortunate and despicable acts of violence and discrimination that they are experiencing as of late. Nobody deserves that, but when we see what's happening with our Asian community, it just breaks my heart to see that. Nobody should ever have to go through that, but to see it happen again and again for whatever the reasons are, it just makes it that much harder. So thank you, Councilmember Perello, for bringing that up. Last two things very quickly. On March 31st, District 2 will be having a town hall meeting at 6 p.m. over Zoom. A flyer and some additional information will be coming out later this week about that, where people can find out how to participate. The entire city is welcome to attend. I met with the neighborhood council chairs from most of the neighborhoods in District 2 who are supportive of this. We talked about some different topics that are relevant to District 2, and the city manager and city staff have agreed to be there and speak to these items, but also answer questions in an open Q&A period as well. And I hope that the district will consider coming out so you can hear about what's going on in the city, ask questions or give concerns about what that are on your mind, and hear responses from the staff on that. You're also welcome to come out and give compliments as well if you'd like to do that. And last, thank you so much, Wendy Leung, for being an amazing reporter and journalist and professional, hitting the beat for the city of Oxnard. I very much appreciate everything that you've written about the city, about the integrity you have as a journalist. And I will miss our GIF wars we would have on Twitter and tweeting back and forth. And I don't know if the council know this, but every once in a while we'd have a kind of selection for who was the best dressed at the council meeting that evening. So the tweets were great. Thank you very much, Wendy. Good luck to you in everything you do moving forward. And I look forward to crossing paths again in the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Perello.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank Mr. Teran for his comments. He's absolutely right. Any segment of this community, this nation, this world that is picked on in a wrong-headed manner for something that they have nothing to do with, it's a wake-up call to the rest of the community. And when the rest of the community is silent, remember, you may be the next person that is picked on. It's a lesson through history. I'd like to give this information out. I've had people try to get a hold of me and they're saying, how do I get a hold of you? Use my city email. It's bert.perello@oxnard.org. bert.perello@oxnard.org. My city phone number is 805-889-3192. I'm looking forward to having minutes for these council meetings come up. I know that we're going to have them in the future. This morning, I met with Miss Anna Carrillo at the Colonia Community Center. She basically brought some things to the entire council's attention, and I had an opportunity. I met with her. She showed me a lot of things. There are some concerns that she had. I want to thank the City of Oxnard Police Chief, Jason Benitez, for getting in contact with her. It looks like something that can be accomplished. No promises are made, but it's an issue in the community that affects the entire community, not just one district. The bicycle speaker, Mr. Teran, again, 100% right. The comments and the information he brought to the attention is eye-opening. But I learned a long time ago when I fooled with motorcycles. When you are fooling with a 2,000-pound car, it doesn't matter if you're in the right or wrong. It doesn't minimize the wrong of a person with a car, or worse yet, an 80,000-pound truck. There are things that can be done, but it's a responsibility of all parties. Any loss of life is a loss to the entire community. I wish Wendy Leong and her husband, the best of luck in the future. I've been given a couple of positive comments about my continued request that people practice social distancing and wear masks and wash their hands. And it's been brought to my attention rather forcefully that in certain segments of the community, the Hispanic community specifically, social distancing could be implied. We don't want people to see their families. That's not a fact. The words that I'm told that I should be using is something in Spanish called sana distancia, meaning healthy distance. And my pronunciation of the words, I apologize, but someone who is fluent in Spanish, they could help me out and comment up. The sana distancia, I believe is how it's pronounced. Again, with the issue that's come up on the news right now, and all of a sudden my computer is not working here. I don't know. Anyway, it says that the state of California is considered beginning of a drought cycle again. And I think that we need to consider on our city council agenda an update. Do we need to go? Because I don't believe Ventura County was ever taken off water restrictions, but we need to have an update. Because as we can see, it was a little difficult to get the majority, nearly everybody, to realize water is one of the most important things going, and we need to have the water, and we need to not waste the water. With respect to the another comment that I got from Mr. Paul Lemos, the month of April has been continued, except it was not done last year. There was the pandemic, but it's victims of homicide. And he's asked if we can have some sort of recognition for the victims of homicide. Mr. Lemos lost a son to an unsolved murder. I'll still remember the day that he walked in and supported the Inter-Neighborhood Council Forum when we questioned Chief Cromback on what was going on. I think it's something that needs to be brought to the attention because there are people in our community that know information. Sometimes fear or ignorance leads them to be silent. And that coattails right into what Mr. Turan talked about with respect to the fentanyl and the drug overdoses, but also ties right into the victims of sex trafficking. Most of the sex trafficking of women caters to men. Men know where there are problems. Men were born of mothers. Some men have wives. Some men have sisters. Some men have daughters. This is something that no one should be silent about. And the bottom line, as in all enterprises, is money, whether it's the drug industry or the sex industry. Some communities have legalized sex industry as a profession. I don't know that that would happen here, but the descriptions, and I appreciate the woman bringing it to the attention because the things that have been seen, and Councilman Madrigal and I were at a South Oxnard library event, and he can recall and verify this. People were complaining about prostitution going on right on the street, right across from the library. I went one night to investigate. Yep, it was going on. It's not the fault of the police department. It's the fault of society, needs, wants, but this stuff is going on. And when the lady explained Ventura County is a leader in this, this is something we should all be ashamed of. I am. Again, if somebody needs to get a hold of me, city email bert.perello@oxnard.org, phone number 805-889-3192. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to share a few comments here. First of all, I want to thank, by the way, we are going to work with Mr. Lemos regarding a proclamation for his son and others too, just for information. But I want to thank Councilmember Lopez and Basua for working over at Ormond Beach and working with the city of Hueneme. And I know that many times the mayor Gama has had concerns about not helping out, but I just want to commend them for that because it was really 100 and some people, and it was really great. And my understanding is that our people provided the dumpsters, and And I just want to thank you for working with them, Councilman Basua and also Lopez. Also, I had the opportunity, as the city manager mentioned, is to work with Terrell over at South Winds. And I want to thank Councilman Lopez for working, providing vaccine shots for the South Oxnard folks, working with Vons and working with Albertsons. And my understanding, I talked to Terrell this morning, and he says it was 250 shots that we're giving, which is really fantastic. So we're going to promote that more on a daily basis. And I just want to share with the council members and the residents, my wife and I took our first and second shots over at Vons. Didn't hurt, didn't do anything, but it was just great and it feels good. So now I have the opportunity to go see my grandkids, or they have them come over to see me maybe after a couple of more days. And I just want to share with the public, do not be afraid to take your shots. Take your shots. My understanding is from some individuals that there's some people are saying that don't take the shot because it's bad for you, because don't trust it, because you're going to turn into something else. And in fact, I've heard that somebody has said that if you take a shot and you're over 65, you're not going to make it. So that is no good. Take your shot. Make sure you take your first and second shot. And now we have the J&J shot that apparently is going to be the vaccine that's going to be one only. But I do, again, share with the public, do not take, be afraid to take those shots, which is really important. And also, council members, I never had the opportunity to actually work with Wendy, the reporter. So I'm sure that she's going to have a great new service of profession, her and her husband. But again, thank you for the councilmen for sharing what they were sharing today. And of course, one of the things that's really important is we need to take care of our bicyclists. Really, really important that we look out for them and also for our pedestrians for that matter. So I want to thank you again for all of you for sharing. Thank you so much. And who else? Oscar?
Mayor,
Oscar?
sorry. Yeah, so no, sorry. I just kind of forgot something along the way. I got too carried away with something else. But I actually want to give thanks to Mr. Francisco Barajas for more than 20 years in his support in Oxnard housing.
Mm-hmm.
And also want to thank Rose. Rose has been great for our community over the last 20 years. I had pleasure of meeting Rose, and Rose is an exceptional employee, and as good of an employee as she is, she's a better person. I want to thank her for everything, for all her work in the community. It's a true meaning of putting people first. And for that, I want to thank her. She does a lot good, and with the good times, the bad times, she's always there. So I want to thank her for everything that she's done. And, as always, with the community, the key to working with the community is just by being honest with them. So with that, thank you, Rose. And, I can't really even say thank you enough how much you do for this community and for the entire city of Oxnard. So thank you.
Thank you. I know Bert raised his hand, but that's Rose Banuelos, used to work for the Housing Authority, correct?
Oh, sorry. Yes. And then, of course, as much as I want to thank her and say all these nice things, there's many people in the neighborhood who would say even more. I know Commissioner Vega, Rose has done so much, and she, we count so much on Commissioner Vega as well in the neighborhood. He goes out of his way and does everything, and without Rose, Rose is there. Rose is everyone's rock. So thank you, Ms. Rose Banuelos.
And we commended her. Bert, you have additional information?
Yeah, I would like to just get a clarification. The comment that you made about the shots, I'm scheduled to get my shot tomorrow at 10 something at the fairgrounds. But just because I get a shot, it doesn't mean I can go and visit. I'm wondering if we can get somebody to clarify that, because it's still, it does, you're not immune. There's another wave of things going. And there was a little comment made at the very beginning about the city fire chief. One of his favorite things was a steak, and and I didn't say it then, but were we going to go out and get a steak? Right now, we're not going out and getting steaks. There's still this issue. Just because we get a shot, we're not safe, and the people we may be around are not safe.
Yeah.
Is there someone
My
on
understanding,
staff or dais that can clarify that?
my understanding is you can take a steak out. You can
Yes, you can get it, take it out.
take out.
You can pick it up.
Yeah.
But can someone clarify once we get the shots? I mean,
My
it's okay to go out?
understanding, Perello, from when I got the shot is that about 2 weeks is what they're saying, that you should wait before you go out and visit.
Well,
That's my understanding, but I
okay.
don't know.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Mayor,
No,
but
no,
I
that's
have
a good
different
point.
information. So I was hoping staff would settle up. Maybe somebody who works in the county would be able to help us out in the
But
future. Thank you. Thank you for
That's
letting me
a
speak.
That's a good point, council member, but my understanding from the folks there, when I got my shot, is 2 weeks, and I'm going in 2 weeks since I got my shot. But thank you for that, and I think it's good information. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Alex?
Just to add some clarification, at this time, the CDC guidance is once you've been vaccinated, you should continue to wear a mask.
That's right. Thank you. Mhm. Okay, our next item is item HI, and this is City Manager Department. And this is appointment of members to serve on the city commissions and committees. And the recommendation is that the mayor, with the approval of the city council, make those following appointments. And we have 1 through 5 appointments, and this was also put on the recorder per Measure M. And do the council members have any recommendations, or can I have a second to approve all the committees that we're going to appoint appointees to?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, for a quick moment, just because these are individuals from our community who are volunteering their service, if I could ask our deputy city manager to just read the names of the people that are volunteering very quickly, and which commission or CAG they're volunteering for, just to make sure we recognize them publicly.
Okay, do you want to share? I have Council Madrigal and Tehran they'd like to share before you. Well, he raised his hand. Madrigal. Okay, go ahead.
No, I made the motion.
Motion and the second by Tehran, but go ahead and Mr. City Manager, want to share?
Okay. So we have Andres Peniagua from representing District 4, who's being appointed to the Community Relations Commission. We have Dr. Carlo Aaron Perther representing District 3, and Paul Limos representing District 6 to the Parks and Recreation and Community Services Commission. Javier Gomez representing District 4, being appointed to the Cultural Arts Commission. Ronald Arujo, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from District 3, being appointed to the Planning Commission. And then Deirdre Frank from the city at large, Christopher Tacon from District 2, Dan Pinedo from District 3, Ruby Durias from District 4, Angel Garcia from District 5, Joe Munoz from District 6, Nancy Lindholm representing the business organizations, and Leonard Schulman representing Neighborhood Council. All of those folks are being appointed to the Measure O Citizen Oversight Committee.
Okay, thank you. So we had a second by Oscar. Any other comments? If not, we need a roll call.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, just a quick comment. Go ahead, Bert.
Bert, and then.
Yes, my understanding is there are still people going through the background check process. There will be more people named. Could we have someone address that?
Yes, that's correct. And they'll be coming to the next council meeting.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, that was going to be my comment. So thank you, council member, for bringing that up. just to let people know this is not a completed process yet.
That's right. Okay, so we got a second by Oscar. Okay, Tehran, you have go ahead, another comment.
Thank you. Just quickly for the record, if Councilmember Madrigal moved for this to get approved, I certainly will second that. So I'll just put that on the record. I just wanted to thank our Deputy City Manager, Ms. Klima, for saying all the names of everybody and for the city manager recommending that. That was what my comment was going to be, just recognizing these community volunteers who are getting they're donating their time, volunteering their time to help advise and evaluate important city matters that are happening at the level of the commissions. And I wanted to recognize all of them and thank them for that volunteerism that they have. And I always like the way that Councilmember Perello puts it. I think he says they don't even get a cup of coffee. And as someone who came from Parks and Recreation Community Services Commission, I enjoyed almost every single minute of it. I learned a lot about the city, the way it functions, the way that our commission functioned, and the many great things that all of these commissions have the ability to affect. That being said, as was mentioned, there are a few more that are still going through the technicalities for the background check before they come back at the next council meeting. But there are still vacancies, is my understanding, Ms. Klima, unless, and I see her nodding her head yes.
That's correct.
If you are interested in volunteering for this and getting involved at this level with our city, I cannot recommend it any higher than I already am. Please, if you have any inkling, please volunteer for this. It is a great experience and it's a great way to serve our residents and our city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. And I know staff has been conveying that information throughout, through the website of the city and so forth. And as Councilmember, just to share, I'm just following Measure M, a pre-recorded presentation. Thank you so much. So we have a first and a second. First by Oscar and second by Ron. And roll call.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Councilmember Tehran,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Perello,
Yes, and I'd like to thank Mr. Turan for his service on Parks and Rec. I think, aside from myself on the INCO, he's the only one in the council that's been on a CAG.
Councilmember Madrigal.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our next item is the City Manager Department again, is appointment of voting delegate and alternate for the Southern California Association of Governments General Assembly. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, so we need this council to vote to appoint one official voting delegate from this body as well as one alternate representative.
Is my understanding, I'm not sure if is correct or not, is Mayor Pro Tem should be the delegate and Councilman Perello the alternate. Is that is my understanding? Is that correct?
I don't know. It's up to the council.
Mayor Pro Tem, or do we have any other nominations? Mayor Pro Tem is a delegate and Mr. Bert Perello is the alternate. Or is there any other nominations? If not, we need a motion.
I'll move to designate Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Perello if they accept.
The delegate and Perello is the alternate. Okay. A second? I'll second that. Roll call.
Councilmember Perello,
Yes, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Tehran.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our next item is item J, and this is the consent item. And we have consent items 1 through 9. And then also we have the K2, which would be the Housing Authority. So before we go there, my understanding is that we have a speaker on this item, Mr. Ray Patel. Is that correct?
Yes, and I also have a comment.
Okay.
I have an announcement. Announcement pursuant to Government Code Section 54952.3. Each member of the Housing Board of Commissioners present will receive $50 pay for convening this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Our public speaker is not available at this moment.
Okay, not available. So, council members, if there's any clarification we needed by staff, that we have K3 to 9 for the city council. And of course, then we have item K2 we would include the housing authority. But before we have that, we have Councilman Lopez and Perella and Turan. Councilman Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to bring up item K9, the rental assistance program. And if I can ask either Mr. Ramirez, if there's an additional information to share today about this program, or if we can get an update in the future on how we can share this information with our residents, with our community on the rental assistance that will be available, because it's very critical. I just want to ensure that we have a plan in place to distribute this information. So if Mr. Ramirez has any information today, otherwise I would request something in the future meeting.
Is Mr. Ramirez available?
I see him. There he is. It's coming on.
Yes, Mr. Ramirez.
Hi, good afternoon or good evening, Mayor and Council. Emilio Ramirez, Housing Director. We are working with the state on this program now. We have been appointed to their advisory committee. As of right now, we do not yet have the application portal and we don't yet have the marketing material. We expect to have that on March 4th, this Thursday. And I definitely can offer a presentation to the full city council towards the end of the month on how to apply and the technical assistance that we will be providing to our residents in conjunction with the partnership with the County of Ventura.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you. Councilman Perella.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I have a comment that I need to clarify. On item K5, it involves the South Bank Park. I live in the South Bank neighborhood. In discussions earlier this morning, or early this afternoon with the city attorney, I do not have to recuse myself from this item, but I wanted to make that public statement. I have a question on K1, K4, K6, and K9.
Okay.
So ask them now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On K1, on that specific item with SCADA, I would like to know, does any component of the SCADA have any physical contact with the water? The reason for asking that question, the water is extremely important, and we want to make sure that if anything has contact with the water, we minimize or eliminate anything that would have anything to do with lead having any contact with the water.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Mr. Omar Castro to provide a quick answer. And council member, I appreciate you doing this one question at a time. Mr.
Okay.
Castro.
Mr. Castro.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Omar Castro, Water Division Manager. The SCADA program that's being presented, this is a software, and no, it is not in contact with water.
Thank you very much, Mr. Castro.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The next item is K4. It is the statewide Parks Development and Community Revitalization Program grant application. It has to do with sums and specifically Drewley Park. On that particular staff report, item number 5 is bike and skateboard, it appears, jump thing. I am just concerned with respect to what type of safety do we use? And the reason I bring this to the attention of the council, I often go by College Park and I see the skateboard. People break into the skateboard park and use it in off hours, but seldom do I see the major enforcement of helmets? And maybe we could have somebody from a future agenda item, how many issues of liability or injury or payouts have we had to do because we don't enforce the helmet thing, or it is allowed to progress, whether it's bicycles that get thrown over the fence and then ridden, or kids without helmets, or all the things that go. Because it seems if we provide the opportunity and we have rules in place, but we don't enforce them, we set ourselves up for some sort of horrendous liability.
Council member, I appreciate the question. Let us first of all, this is just the application process aspect.
Okay.
Generally speaking, we use, for public parks, we use signage. We don't have active monitoring for items like that. But the next opportunity we have when we're discussing any park, we will make sure to address this issue.
And we can also include College Park for that matter. That's a good point. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next one was is there going to be, go ahead. Was there a responder? No. Okay. The next one, as I mentioned, South Bank Park. I'm in support of this. The next one with K6, this having to do with the drains and the maintenance of this, but part of it is in River Park. There had been questions over a long period of time of the square box culvert called the Louby drain and the condition of that roof, which goes through the Louby, goes through the River Park project. I'm wondering, will there be any checking on that with this contract?
Councilmember Perillo, Jerry Cooper, Special Districts. I am not aware of that particular drain. This maintenance item is specific to the Contech storm filter systems that are throughout the property. And that is not a specific drain that I am aware of, nor do I believe it was included with this particular maintenance project.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cooper. I appreciate your response. Thank you very much. And the last item, Mayor, is the new item 9. I'm reading on the staff report, the very last item, and this is what brings concern. We've had issues in the state when it's come that people have abused the unemployment service, and there have been checks that large volumes of money. Question. The very last paragraph in what I have in my agenda, it says, the city of Oxnard proposes to accept a state offer to administer all ERAP funds in partnership with the city housing department and the county of Ventura. My question is this: if something goes wrong, who's responsible? City of Oxnard, the county of Ventura, or the state? Who, based on that line?
State of California is assuming all obligations and liabilities for operating the program. The program is a federally funded program from a COVID relief package in December, and they have agreed to accept all monitoring, reporting, compliance obligations for that program statewide.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramirez. I appreciate the answer. That's all my questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Turan.
Thank you very much. I have 2 items I'd like to go over. Item K3 and then item K4, but I'll take K4 first because it's just a comment. I wanted to thank the staff and the residents who came together to really look at Durley Park and do an assessment on what might be some possible items to include in an application that would better that park for the community surrounding it. And this included, as you can see in the staff report, it included youth from the Dr. Manuel Lopez Academy that's right down the street, neighbors in the community, as well as the Sunset Little League representatives. And I just want to thank everybody who put hands onto this to really come up with an idea that was resident-driven, community-based, and overseen by our city staff to make something very meaningful go forward in an application. I'd like to point out this is the same funding source that funded $8.5 million for Campus Park. And so fingers crossed that they will see the need and the well put together application again. and award our city again to really uplift a park that is very much deserving of it. So thank you, staff, for this, and thank you to the community members who participated. I do have a question in regards to item K3 for the fire department. And this is the Fema grant we'll be applying for smoke and carbon monoxide detectors with no matching fund requirement. And for Chief Hamilton, just a real quick guesstimate or ballpark, approximately how many devices or units will this funding provide for the city if we're awarded?
Let me answer, since I did make him take his kids out to get takeout steak.
That's steak.
If we're successful with this grant, we're looking at purchasing 5,000 smoke/carbon monoxide detectors, and then an additional 15 of those that have the strobe lights specific for people who are deaf or hearing impaired. So basically 5,000. And I'm pretty certain that the devices we purchase now are the 10-year devices, which is also very good news.
Great, thank you very much. I wish the fire department luck in this application. That's my questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to share on item number 4, Durley Park. And I really believe, as Councilmember Turan says, that Durley Park really needs a renovation, and that portion of South Oxnard is really, really used by a lot of individuals and so forth. Sunset Little League at one time, they were the champions of the Little League tournament. What is that, Turan? The World Little League tournaments. They won at one time, the Sunset Little League, many years ago. But I think that really is needed, and I think that by utilizing that this SB 9, I think is extremely important.
Okay, it sounded like a thunderstorm in council chambers.
Excuse me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is that too loud, Mayor Pro Tem?
No, it just sounded like you had a burst of thunder go off in there. That's all.
Oh, okay. So anyway, with number 9, Mr. Ramirez, I understand that the County of Ventura, if we're lucky enough to get that, will run the program because of staffing and because of in order to expedite that program. Is that correct?
No, Emilio Ramirez, Housing Director. No, sir, the County of Ventura will not run the program. It'll be the state of California and a contract that they have entered into with a bank called LISC. The County of Ventura and the city of Oxnard are proposing to partner to offer additional local marketing or application liaison to help our residents apply to that state program.
So the state will be operating it with the city, the county, and the city.
The state, well, actually, it's
with the contract.
The contractor called LISC. They will be operating it.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Okay, so council members, we have items K3 through 9, and then we'll go
Move
into
approval.
Second.
Okay, second. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem first, Perella second. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Perrello,
Yes, and I'd like to add, I want to thank the mayor for reminding us that the Little League Championship, there is a plaque, a jacket, and a photograph of the individuals in the library. And I believe 2 years ago, they honored some of those individuals at the city council meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Turan,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. And the next item is K2, and that includes a Housing Authority Board. So what is the pleasure of the Housing Authority Board? We need a motion and a second, and I understand that we have the Housing Authority members with us too, Mr. Andrade, and I'm not sure if.
Thank you. Commissioner Vega is here. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And let me see. Who else do we have? Vega, is Vega with us?
Commissioner Vega?
Could you hear me?
Yes, thank you
Okay,
so
thank
much.
you,
There
thank
he
you.
is. Thank
Good.
you.
Sorry, I've been having problems with my Zoom. I've been talking to Madrigal. I've been having problems with my Zoom. Sorry about that.
Okay, so we have Vega and we have Andrade with us. Good. And Oscar, do you want to share anything? You raise your hand. Councilmember Madrigal? Okay, if not, we need a motion.
I'll move approval.
Moved by Lopez,
Second.
second by Tehran. Okay, roll call.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Perillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Wake up, Oscar.
Oscar.
Aye.
Mhm.
Aye.
Councilmember Basua,
Aye.
Councilmember Tehran.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
And the two commissioners.
Commissioner Andrade,
Yes.
Commissioner Vega.
No.
Okay,
Thank you. Motion carries.
thank you. That's approved. Thank you. Okay, our next item is reports, and this L1. This is a finance department. It's adoption of the city council's policy for development and implementation of internal controls. And this is again under Measure M. It was pre-recorded presentation. Is there any comments from city council members on this item?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Perrella?
Yes. I appreciate the work that's been done by all staff. But I want to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Ventura for her involvement and help in the city of Oxnard. Mr. Riper and Ms. Ventura have been a tremendous asset to the city of Oxnard. And I want to share my personal feelings. There was a time when I was on this council when if you asked questions about money, you were stonewalled or worse. And I never have seen that since this finance team that Mr. Nguyen, our city manager, brought in. Ms. Ventura, when there would be an opportunity for her to take the meeting when Mr. Riper could not be there, there was no question that she did not respond to. There was no question that she talked over the questioner's head. There was no question of her being reluctant to take a follow-up question. And also, as a compliment, the woman has a tremendous amount of courage. She could give a lesson to one heck of a lot of people in this community, in this city. When she was faced with some challenges, she had no problem standing up and speaking her mind. I do recall how there was a time that I needed to be put in my place with a decision that I had made, and she explained it to me. She was very courteous, polite, but very matter of fact. That's worth a lot of money in the real world. And I appreciate everything that this finance department has done. I appreciate the individuals that are working here. And thank you very much, Ms. Ventura. I support this 100%.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other council members have any other? Okay, if not, we need a second. Perrella, was that a first?
I make the motion to support this, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Perillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Councilmember Tehran,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our next item number 2 is a
Thank you,
public.
Mr. Ventura.
Thank you. Okay, Public Works Department is just an award and an agreement for Bryce Canyon North and South Neighborhood and Fremont North Neighborhood Street Resurfacing Project rebid specifications PW 18-05R. And this again is also a pre-recorded item. And council members, any questions, concerns on this item? This is a really good project, for those neighborhoods. And I understand that they did some prior work before the paving with some infrastructure needs. So council members, Member Tehran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mhm.
I just wanted to make the comment that I hope that these three neighborhoods are able to be able to see the presentation that came up, or be able to look back on the history of this work that's been done to their neighborhoods. And I got to witness firsthand when the work was happening in the Fremont North neighborhood, because it's right next to my neighborhood where I live. And over the summer, the amount of work that goes into digging up a trench on a main collector street in the city of Oxnard, and all of the residential streets that branch off of that, dig up those pipes, take out the old cast iron pipes, put in PVC, and then run new water lines. Well, that all had to be done before the street resurfacing could happen. And I visited both neighborhoods, all three neighborhoods, and saw they are absolutely in need of street repairs or replacement, but we want to dig up the pipes first. And so I appreciate the Public Works Department and the contractor who did all the work. And I hope that the neighbors, the residents of these three neighborhoods can really look forward to the work when it happens, if the council approves it right now. And thank everybody for all the work that happened into this, because there's many other neighborhoods to come, but thank you very much for this work. I hope everybody can appreciate it. And thank you for the time, Mayor.
Thank you, council member. And the presentation was great. And there was quite a few slides, that showed some of the work that they were doing. It's just fantastic work. Councilman Perrella, you want to share some more information?
If no one else has a negative comment, I would make the motion, but I think that the representative for the area might want to make the motion. These streets have definitely been in need for a long, long time. And the patience of the residents that live in that neighborhood, I hope that they understood why the city of Oxnard had to wait so long. But if Mr. Tehran wants to make the motion, I'll second it. If he doesn't, I'll make the motion.
I'm happy to make the motion. Thank you. But I do want to acknowledge that the other two neighborhoods are, I believe, in District 6. But thank you for that.
Okay, then.
Councilor Perrella, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Okay, second by Lopez, Tehran first and second by Lopez. Roll call.
Councilmember Tehran,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Councilmember Perrello.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you so much. Our next item, item number 3 is Public Works. This is Water Infrastructure and Finance Innovation, WIFIA loan application. And again, council members, this is a Measure M pre-recorded presentation. And any concerns or comments from council members or Mayor Pro Tem and then Perrella?
Mr. Mayor, I read the staff report. I couldn't tell whether this is going to have anything to do with Campus Park or not. So if staff could tell me if Campus Park is in the mix in this report, then I will recuse myself because I have a conflict.
Okay. Okay. Mr. City Manager or Mr. City Attorney?
I can answer that, Mayor. Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer.
Tatiana, go ahead.
Councilmember McDonald, yes, we intend to put the other 5 wells in Campus Park as well. That is the current plan.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I'll recuse myself as I have a conflict. I live too close.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. City Engineer.
Okay, and Perrella, you have any questions, concern?
Yes, I received a question from a member of the Parks and Rec Commission, Ms. Angela Whitcomb, and I said I would carry her question. She's asked me to ask if we have identified the locations of the wells and the structures required. And if they are located in Campus Park, are they planning on working with the park design, and will this be coming to the Parks and Rec Commission? I don't know the answers of that. I've been given something, but I'm wondering if we can address that.
Councilmember Perello, I can answer that question. Tatiana Arnaud, City Engineer. So yes, they will be located within Campus Park. We currently have a consultant who's performing an analysis of the geology underground so that we can actually finalize the siting of these, so that while we're getting into the preliminary design of the Campus Park project, we can coordinate the two with each other. And I would like to remind our Parks Commission that we did tell them that we would be coming before them with these locations at their commission once we have those finalized as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Arnaud. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Teran.
Thank you very much. So my question, pretty much our Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Perello already asked it as well. As a follow-up to the response for Councilmember Perello's question right now, if we're placing the remaining wells into Campus Park, and if there's going to be, as was stated, a coordinated effort with the park design, can you give us an estimate of how much square footage or acreage these wells will take from the park? Because I'm assuming they won't be features or amenities that kids can jump on or play on, and they would need to have some level of protection to them, correct?
That's correct, Councilmember Teran. So we would be putting fences and things of that nature around these facilities to protect, obviously, our park users. We anticipate that it would take about 1 3/4 of an acre total between the 6 wells and any of the access roads to those wells, if we take those into consideration. And just for reference, the park is over 20 acres. So we would be taking 10% or less of that.
Thank you very much. The last thing I'll say is I appreciate the coordinated efforts and the left hand talking to the right hand, because these are seemingly 2 very different efforts that are going on simultaneously. And I'm hoping that with the park design coming up, that the design of these protective barriers or whatever it looks like that will be around the wells can be incorporated so that they are seamless or very transparent parts of the park where you could look at it and you wouldn't know that it's protecting a well or something along those lines. So I would appreciate those conversations. Thank you again for the response.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just add to that.
Mr. City Manager.
Yes, I'd just like to add to that item to clarify for everyone. We are very much in step with the community. We are proactively working together. I made sure that the members of the Friends of Campus Park were involved in the selection process for the landscape design architect. And we will be working throughout hand in hand with the design of both the water wells and the overall park. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments, council members? So if not, we need a motion to approve.
I'd move the recommended action.
Okay, first by Teran and second by Lopez. Roll call.
Councilmember Teran,
Yes.
Councilmember Pasua,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald, Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
He's muted.
He's recused.
I've recused myself. I
Recused.
can't vote.
thank you. Councilmember Madrigal,
Aye.
Councilmember Perello,
Yes.
motion carries 6-1.
Thank you. Our last
What
item-
correction, Mayor? Is the vote 6-1 or 6 with an abstention? It's not, there was no vote.
Six with an abstention.
Abstention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last item is a public works item again, and this is a procurement of vehicles and trailers for the Environmental Resource Division. And the recommendation is that the city authorize, the approval of this item. Is any concerns there, council members? And I've heard the presentation. And I think that Ted Housing made an excellent presentation on the purchase of all that equipment, that we're going to buy for environmental resources. And there's quite a equipment that's very old, and especially the rear loaders, I think, are about 20, 25 years old. So I think he made a really good presentation on that, just for information, council members. Any other comments or concerns? Councilmember Perrello?
Yes, as when the Public Works Committee meeting heard this, I agree with the mayor. It was a good presentation. I did have some questions on the trailers for the refuse. They were answered completely and thoroughly to my satisfaction by Mr. Housing. I support this section.
Thank you. Any other council members? If not, I'll second it. Roll call.
Mayor, who was the first?
Perrello.
Thank you. Councilmember Madrigal,
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Turan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Councilmember Perrello,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
And thank you, council members. Before we adjourn, the city manager would like to share some comments.
Yes, very briefly. I just want to express my frustration with this Measure M system that we're doing. It is 8:17 p.m. So we're done very, very quickly. And if there's a 20th century bureaucrat among us, he or she might be quite happy with this system because these meetings go very fast. But it's very frustrating for me as someone who truly believes in local democracy. I don't understand how anyone who's viewing this meeting, if they hadn't actually watched all of these presentations beforehand, how they can understand what we're doing here. And as I've stated, this is like coming into a play or a movie after the halftime intermission and trying to understand. So this process has utterly disjointed the democratic process. What anyone who's viewing tonight who didn't have the opportunity to view the presentations beforehand, they're not able to understand and follow the decision-making process. All they're getting tonight is just what is the decision. It's very difficult to understand the context and all the information that supports it. So I apologize, but I just have to express my disappointment and frustration with this process. I do not believe this is good for the public. Thank you.
And Mr. City Manager, I'm going to share a little bit more. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Meeting is adjourned.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Perrello,
Yes.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Yes.
Councilmember Basua,
Yes.
Councilmember Turan,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.